Welcome to the Bowlers Gazette show at Holiday Lanes today, and we're taping one of the first matches in the Handicap Star Challenge. I'm here today with the winner of the Star Challenge match, Jim Johnson Jr., who's going to help us with the commentary. And our first match today will be between Gary Renshaw and Jim Henson.
Girls 41 and 42, junior girls 39 and 40, and the senior major girls 37 and 38.
Gary's going to start off the match. He'll be receiving 16 pins handicap, and Jim Henson will be receiving 23 pins handicap.
On 33 and 34, Art Bennett, Rob Siester. 35 and 36.
I could skid it out a little bit on him. Using those be an edge, I guess.
On 41 and
Soft urethane ball.
Tammy Schofield, Jennifer Atkins.
Lane's got a lot of oil on today, Junior.
Carla
They do look a little slick.
Stephanie Merrick. On 37 and 38, Michelle Piasecki and Michelle Conway.
What do you think, JJ? He's laying the ball a little too short for the conditions.
Yeah, it looks like he's catching a lot of oil on the heads. Ball just getting too far down the lane.
All right, we have Jim Henson up now. Jim is 25. He's single. He's currently averaging 182.
It's 23 pins handicap. All right, sure.
Jim was aggressive with that first shot. He ran it up on the nose. He broke it out, left a 9-pin spare. I don't know, JJ. I think the first guy that figures out how much oil's out there is going to win this.
Yeah, whoever reads him first, looks like it's going to be him.
Okay. Jim Henson has a spare in the first frame. Gary Renshaw had a 7 and a 1/8 count.
Jim Henson has a 7-pin handicap advantage. So he just picked up approximately 10 more.
I always seem to have a small problem with the reset here. There we go. Jim's a right-handed bowler. He has 10 years league experience.
Again, trying to force the shot, Junior. Trying to, you know, he knows they're tight. He's trying to force it right into the head.
I think that's a common reaction from a lot of bowlers.
Let's see if Gary can adjust here.
And Gary's 35. He's married. His wife's name is Sue. He has 2 children, Tricia and Gary. His daughter Tricia is going to be in a show probably down the line, the top 10 junior tournament.
A lot better. A lot. Didn't give that much, you know, that ball as much room to the right as he had before. More direct.
A little bit smoother too.
Sure. Come through the ball nice. Both using the same ball, the edge. Another good shot. Looked real good.
Excellent rhythm that time. I think Gary was the first one to get his head into this match.
Looks that way, Jim's throwing 2 shots, haven't looked too good, and come out with the break so far. See if he can take advantage of that right here. Look a little better. Yeah, a lot better there.
Might have something going here, Jim.
Yeah, made it count right there.
should be an even match throughout. Gary's average is 190 and Jim's average is 182. They both do a lot of bowling at Price Lanes, and we all know how tough it can be there.
Sure.
You've bowled here a lot, Jim. What do you think about these lane conditions? Are usually this slick?
No, they're not. I don't know whether they put extra oil down for the tournament. I imagine that was the case. Because of the lights, they wanted some oil to hold up. It looks like the middle's going to break down before anything. Trusted a little too much with that shot.
Jim has 56 in the second frame with a strike in the third. Needs to bring this spare in.
Winner of this match to meet Jim Conway.
That's right. Jim Conway qualified third with a 719 series. Dave Lux qualified second at 708. And Steve French is the tournament leader with 806. And Gary's on a double now. With these two frames here, he can really open up a big lead.
Strike here, putting within 10. He likes it. Yeah. Looks like he's got a nice stroke right now. After that opening frame, it looks a lot better. This strike here put him in the lead.
It looked like it cut down a little short at the line, Joe.
Yeah, he got it in there out. Set the ball down short, caught a little more oil. Started the ball in just a little bit more than he started the rest of them.
It gives Gary 67 in a third. A strike and a possible spare here. Put him approximately 10 pins down to Jim. Good speed toward it.
Nice
Okay, after 5 frames, we have 87 for Gary, and we'll take a short pause here for a commercial message. All right, welcome back to Holiday Lanes. We're in a Star Handicap Challenge match between Gary Renshaw and Jim Henson. In the 5th frame for Jim Henson, he rolled a strike on alley 48. He has a 10-pin lead over Gary Renshaw, who has 87 after 4 frames. We're here today with Jim J.J. Johnson, our Star Challenge winner.
Good pitch there by Jim.
Coming with the 2 best shots in the match for him, Jim.
Right, them 2 look real nice. He's up about 20 pins and he has strike work. Gary needs one here, so he gets something to work on. He's got to come up.
It looked to me like he sort of pulled his shoulder out of that shot and left it way short.
Yeah, the ball didn't finish quite as much as the shots before that.
It's time for a trick shot now, JJ. He has to make this one.
It's going to hook too much.
Yeah. Through 6 frames, that puts Gary at 114 and working on a flat. Jim Henson 96 through 4, and he's working on a double.
He's going to start working now. He's about 30 pins behind. There was a good pitch. Almost the same as the other one, though. Maybe a little less speed that time. Got a little more finish out of the ball. Knocked the 5-7 out.
Trust is a must or your game's a bust. Is that still true?
Today, I'm not sure. Little mistake to the right could be a little bit of trouble.
Jim jerked that ball right up on a hip. He left himself to 310.
You got a little faster that time. Rushed the line.
What do you think of these two gentlemen's style, considering their averages are in the 180s and 190s?
Jim Henson's throwing quite a good ball, I think, for a 182 bowler. I'm surprised with him so far. I mean, the lanes aren't that good, and he's throwing quite a few good shots.
Jim opened up on that 310. That gives him 152 in the 7th frame. Gary has 114 and a 6. He's working on a strike.
Just picked up 10 pins for Gary on a strike. He can make it 20. Jim got to get back on track here. Got to get back to his concentration. I think he got a little lazy. See what happens. Yeah.
Did you notice, well, he almost stole a Brooklyn strike there. Did you notice how his eyes dropped right at the release point?
No.
If he's doing that normally, that could be part of his problem.
Right.
Especially in a head-to-head match.
Sure.
Just as he went through his release point, we had a good face shot, and his eyes dropped.
Yeah, I see that. I watched through the moment here.
Just a moment when they get one
He brought the 6-pin in, though, and that's still the biggest part of the bowling game is make your spare.
Sure.
Bowling shoes on and their ball and get ready to go down lanes 47 and 48.
Yeah, he's got to keep that eye on the mark all the way through the shot.
We want you down there, but we want you to be ready to go so that we can do this real quick.
I think Gary needs to start something here.
Yeah, this will be a big strike right here. This ties it back good. All right.
It's hard to see from this angle here, but he just totally lost that shot at the foul line, I believe.
He didn't come quite through the ball like he has on previous shots.
You think that could be a confidence factor, JJ? He's not quite sure what the lanes are going to do.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do it. I don't know if he's ever bowled here before on this condition, but that could have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, he looked good on that spare shot. That gives Gary 134 in the 7th frame working on a spare. Jim has 152 working on a spare. It's nitty-gritty time now. We have to throw some strikes.
Here's where you have to set something up, especially for Gary right here. He's going to need one here so he has something to work on in the 10th frame. So he can't be. He needs help. He got help. He got a little lazy there. The ball ran up on him. Didn't have quite the speed he had with the other shots.
Would you take 12 in a row like that, JJ?
Yeah.
So would I.
Especially something like this, head-to-head match. Just have to win. Jim can't fall apart here. He's got to stay tough. I think he tried to squeeze the ball there, Junior. What do you think? Trying to force it?
You're absolutely right. I was watching his eyes again that time, and right at the release point, they dropped down. I'm sure he's not aware he's doing that.
Right. Yeah, it looks like he's looking at his feet.
He's really opened the door for Gary now with 2 flats in his last 3 frames. 177 through 9 frames for Jim. Gary has 150 through 4 through 8, and he's working on a strike.
Better get it together here. He can make Gary throw 2 in the 10th frame. Nice pitch.
I'll give him credit for it. He went for it. He gave it all he had on that one. That makes...
It makes Gary Renshaw throw the first one right now.
That's right. And if Jim can come up with a double or a turkey here, that's going to make things very difficult for Gary.
He got a big break
There's
there.
the break.
Oh yeah, ball come up high, skidded right at the end, and got the trip 4 into the 9. It's a big break there. That makes Gary Renshaw come up and double in the 10th frame. Needs 8, that'll be enough.
Okay, 8 count on last shot. Jim finishes with a 205 game. That means Gary needs the first 2.
Yes.
You ever notice in these head-to-head matches, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about the Earl Anthony's or the once-a-week bowler, it always seems to go down to the 10th frame.
His 2 shots on this lane haven't been too good. Let's see if he can correct it right here. He needs help. He's no. Brushed the shot, pulled up at the line. Ball went with him.
And that 7 count on the strike, that effectively shuts Gary out.
Yeah.
Looks like Jim's going to be the winner with a 205 game.
He'll be in the 190s, it looks like.
Now Gary brings a 136 spare in. With a strike, he can shoot 194. Which is not a bad game under the conditions today.
These conditions are tough. Trick is here to stay away from your opens. Hit the reset. So Jim Henson will go against Jim Conway in the next match.
They're 2 buddies from Price's. That ought to be a lot of fun.
They'll have a 16-pin difference in handicap.
Well, he went out on a good shot, JJ.
Yeah.
He finished. Gary Renshaw finishes with 193. Jim Henson with 205 is the winner of the first Handicap Star Challenge match. Jim Henson will face Jim Conway in the next match. Thank you very much. Welcome to another edition of the Bowlers Gazette. We're here with another match in a Handicap Star Challenge match. Today's match is Jim Henson against Jim Conway. I'm John Thompson Jr. and I'm here today with a very famous guest, Jim J.J. Johnson. And Jim Conway is going to lead off the match.
Coming a little weak. Jim Conway's starting off with a 16-pin handicap disadvantage to Jim Henson. So he's going to have to try and bowl just a little bit harder. Not a bad opening shot, though.
Okay, Jim starts out with a 7-pin on his first shot. He made the spare. We now have Jim Henson coming up. Jim won his first match against Gary Renshaw, 205 to 193. He's now going against Jim Conway, and he has a 16-pin handicap advantage. I think we were looking for a Hail Mary shot there, Jim.
Yeah, he was hoping for it. It was close.
Jim Henson's 25. He's single. He's currently a 182 average and does a lot of bowling out of Price lanes. What do you think about that cross alley shot at the 7-pin, Jim?
I don't know.
I don't think you don't like to go after that way. I don't.
I need their shot it the best way, I think, straight at it.
After the first frame, both men have a 9 spare. Jim Henson has a 16-pin advantage in a handicap.
Got in the oil a little bit with that shot. He was a little deeper that time than when his last shot.
Jim's using an edge today. Do you think that's the best ball for this condition?
Yeah, I think that soft urethane balls might give you just a little bit more room. Lanes don't look like they're finishing too hard. Ball might grab a little better than anything else. Nice spare.
That's probably the most pickable spare for a right-hander in the game.
You're right. Everybody does it.
Okay, after the first 2 frames, Jim Henson a 9 spare, 7 spare, gives him 33 in the first frame. Jim Conway's up, a 9 spare in the first frame. Jim's 37 years old. He's married. His wife's name is Randy. He has 2 children.
Identical to the last shot. Just a little weak. He's going to have to make a slight adjustment, I think. Caught close, but not close enough.
Jim's current average is 189. He's doing his summer league bowling in a Price Lane's High Point Scratch. He's been a league bowler for 22 years. I wonder if that is telling our age a little bit.
He's in trouble there. Yeah. Didn't give the ball enough room for the spare.
Well, no matter how tight they are, you have to be aggressive at your spares. You can't give up on a shot.
Especially a head-to-head match. That puts him. You know, Jim Henson made his 2 spares, and Jim missed one, so head-to-head match is tough. You got to be on those spares.
Now Jim's using the Brunswick.
It looks like you're using a hammer.
He's using a hammer. I think he tried to make the adjustment you were talking about. Jim just overcorrected that time.
Typical bowler's mistake. Over adjust. While he's trying to find a line, he's going to have to be picking up these spares. And he did.
Looked like a practice shot at the strike ball there.
Yeah. Yeah, looked good. See if he realized that when he comes up next time.
Okay, in the third frame, Jim Conway had 8 spare. He has 28 through the second with an 8 spare, and Jim Henson's coming up in the third with 2 spares working. Both bowlers look a little anxious to me, JJ.
Jim didn't make one of his better pitches right there. Switching to a harder ball and trying to let us get into the pins here. And he didn't give that ball any room either. He does look anxious.
For the younger bowlers that might be watching, Jimmy, do you recommend that switching to a harder shell ball for your right corner spares?
No, I don't. Not to start, I don't. I think you should rely on accuracy.
Come up a little light, left a 2-pin.
And you got the ball in again, it's skidded away from him. He did that last time with this lane. It's like on the right lane both times, he hadn't trusted the ball. Pointing it up.
That gives Jim Henson 69 in the third. Relatively easy 9-pin spare.
And there got to take a little bit more time with his spares.
I guess I shouldn't have said relatively easy that time.
He's not taking his time on them spares
That
at all.
gives Jim Henson 78 through the fourth.
10-pin game.
Jim Conway, if he could manage to string some strikes here, could take control of the game.
Well, he's in. He got a break. Yeah, he did.
His super break that time. That left-hander went on the right-hander side that time. Gives him 48 in the third, working on a strike.
See if he can take advantage of that break. He can tie it up with this one right here. And he did the same mistake. And he almost got the same break. Just 5-pin did not roll out the 8 that time. So it's been light the first 2 shots, and he over-adjusted has been heavy in Jersey the next 3 shots. He's got to find something in between, which might not be that easy. He got a little disgusted with his first 2 shots. And then trying
That's
to
a 9
force
spare in the fifth, gives Jim Conway 68 through 4, and we'll take a short break here for commercial messages. Welcome back to Holiday Lanes. It's the Bowlers Gazette show and a Handicap Star Challenge match. And Jim Henson is now up in the 5th frame.
He's leading by 10 pins. And Jerry looks like he's squeezing the ball with his hand now. Still forcing that shot to the head pin.
What do you think? Combination of the lights and the cameras, or the pressure from Jim Conway? Which do you think it is?
I think it's the pressure from Jim Conway. He knows he's bowling a tough bowler, and he's just trying to force the shots. He made a better spare shot that time. He took his time. The last couple shots, he didn't take his time.
Okay, through 5 complete frames, Jim Conway has 68 with a spare in the 5th, and Jim Henson has 78 in the 4th with a spare in the 5th. 10-pin match.
Better shot there by Jim Henson. Oh. Like he might have pulled out that too quick, but the line looked a lot better. He gave a little bit, trusted a little bit there, maybe too much.
There's that trust is a must, right?
Yeah. Opponent finished quick.
It's hard to tell with Jim. It looks like even when he gets a good shot that he's really coming out of it too quick.
Got a shot at this spare. Yep.
Excellent shot at it. Well, the 5-7 is a tough shot under any conditions, but in a head-to-head match, it becomes even tougher. It gives Jim Henson 104 in the 6th. It's now time again for Mr. Conway to step up and take charge.
Yeah, got more things here to play with right now. Got a break, he didn't leave the split.
A 2-pin leave on a high hit for Jim.
He came over top of that ball just a little bit.
You think those 2 light 7-pin leads in the first frame have confused him a little bit?
I really do, yeah. Yeah, he's been heavy every shot.
And he's been high ever since then.
He's really got good breaks that he hasn't left anything real tough to make.
All right, nice cover on a 2-pin. That gives Jim 87 in the 5th, working on a spare. Have a good shot here. He would take the lead in this game.
Good pin count here.
This might turn into a match where whoever can shoot spares the best is going to be the winner.
Yep. They each missed 1 single pin here so far this game. Only one strike through 6 frames.
Looked like a better shot.
Was a little better. Hit just a little weak. A little heavier than 7 pins, but that was definitely the best shot he's thrown this match so far.
A 9-pin on a pocket hit should be a relatively easy spare for Mr. Conway. Last time I said easy spare, we had a miss. I hope I don't jinx him again.
Gives him a 2-pin lead with the spare.
All right, brought it in. That gives Jim Conway 106 through 6, working on a spare and a 7th. Jim Henson 104 through 6 on a flat. It's time for Jim to get going here. Looks like he's really forcing it now, Jim.
Yeah, pressure looks like it might be getting to him. He got a break by not leaving a split.
He's got the 610. Using that hard show bell again, and brings it in.
Took a little bit more time that time with a spare. Maybe he heard us talking.
Jim Henson qualified 4th in the Handicap Star Challenge with a 758 series. Jim Conway was 3rd with a 719. The winner of this match will go on against Dave Lux, who was 2nd at 708. And the winner of that will have to face Steve French, the qualifying leader, who had 806.
Go fast with that shot. Got a break again by not leaving the split.
That gives Jim 122 in his 7th. Needs to pick up this 4-7 to stay in the match.
He's roughly 4 pins behind. He hadn't done a strike in 8 frames. This pace, he's going to need a double, so he's going to have to find something coming up in the 9th and 10th frames.
In fact, between the 2 bowlers, we only have 1 strike through 8 frames. Well, 7.5, we'll say. Okay, the last shot for Jim Conway was the best shot of the match for him. Let's see if he's really learned something.
That's a good shot. Yeah, that was a good shot. Came through the ball nice. Looks like he found something.
That gives Jim Conway 126 through 7, working on a strike. Jim Henson 122, working on a spare.
And a 4-pin difference. He can make it 14 with this one here. And really put the pressure on Jim Henson.
After the first match has been completed, the number 3 bowler can get their prizes.
Oh, he got a break. That was really
See him go down on that one.
Yes, he did.
Saying, come on, ball, give me a break.
Stay with that shot. That's why I got it.
That gives Jim a double going into the 10th frame. Jim Henson has really got his work cut out for him now.
And he's got to set something up in this 9th frame.
Got a chance.
Yeah. Same shot that Jim Conway threw. Jim Henson didn't stay with the ball as long as Jim did. That's why he left one.
All right, brings a 4-pin in. That gives Jim Henson 141 in the 8th, spare in the 9th. Jim Conway 126 in the 7th with a double working.
Jim Henson's going to need a double here to make Jim Conway mark in the 10th frame. A good count in the mark. He needs a break. He got one.
There you go. There you go. Throw it down there and hook it.
That's the first strike of the match, so he's going to need one here. Hopefully put just a little bit of pressure on Jim Conway to throw a mark in the 10th.
If Jim can strike out, he'll wind up with 191. Just need a good count for Jim Conway.
And he got too fast. He got the ball. He didn't take that much time with it. He just made it edge.
1-2-4-7. That's a pretty tough shot for a right-hander.
Yeah, good cover.
Nice cover. That gives Jim Henson a 181 final score. I think Mr. Conway just needs to stay behind the foul line, doesn't he?
Yeah, he needs good count.
Good count.
About 8 on the first ball. He needs to do it.
He sent it wide.
That's not a good pin.
7-pin fill on a double. Gives Jim 153 in the 8th with a strike in the 9th.
He needs 3 of them. He needs the spare.
If we get 2, we got a tie game, right? What we thought was going to be an easy 10th frame here has turned into something a little more difficult.
Yeah. Got a little lazy. Winner this to beat Dave Lux.
Uh-oh.
He missed it. We have a tie.
We have a tie game here.
Oh,
That's 7-2. That gives him 172 in the 9th, 181 total. We have a tie match.
Then we have trouble. I'm almost sure they'll go into a 9th and 10th frame, but I'm not sure what it is.
Challenge. We had a tie, 181 game between Jim Conway and Jim Henson. We now have to have a 10th frame roll-off. Jim Henson will go first on lane 47.
Jim Henson's getting a second chance here, I think.
Another 5-pin on a light pocket hit.
Take his time, make the spare, and get a good count will be important. Went to the hard shot ball. I think he trusts that hard shot ball more than he does his other shot.
All right, brought the spare in.
Oh, see his local favorite bowler is John Thompson Jr. I know him.
I've been trying to hide that this whole match.
He's sitting right next to me. He's getting a second chance here. He needs good count. He got the best count you can get. That makes Jim Conway double in the 10th.
That gives Jim Henson 20 in his 10th frame. 9 spare and a strike.
Conway needs 2 strikes.
This sets up potential possibility for tie after tie. The winner of this match will meet Dave Lux, qualified 2nd in the Handicap Star Challenge. Aggressive shot.
Well, we might have another tie here, John. He needs to make the spare and fill full count of 20.
Coming up with a 7-pin on that hit was something of a minor miracle.
Yeah, he put a break, broke up the split.
Earlier in the game, that was Jim's only open frame before the 10th frame, a 7-pin.
His third shot at one.
He went for it good that time.
Yeah, gave a little bit more room. Learn from his mistake.
Now we have an opportunity for a tie again. It's not a question of a spare shot this time. It's get them all or it's goodbye.
Yeah. See if he can respond to the pressure.
Jim is a one-time professional card holder. He should know what pressure is all about.
Sure does.
Brooklyn.
He needs lots of help. And he got it.
And he got it. An absolutely incredible
Both
strike.
of them crossover jersey to tie.
That gives us a 20 and a 10th frame tie again. I'm afraid we're going to have to go through another 10th frame.
So we get a winner.
We'll have
Be a
Jim Henson
marathon.
again starting first.
Please report to 26.
And he'll He'll be on lane 47.
Each division who is not currently bowling, please report to 26.
We can turn this into an hour and a half bowling program.
Sure. Run 2 shows.
There's the Brooklyn shot again. Wound up with a 3-pin.
John, looks to me like the middle is drying out. Cross needs to be all, everybody's crossing the jerseys. So back ends in the middle might be drying out a little bit for the lights and bowling.
This is for those of you that have not had your picture yet.
Went to the hard shell ball again.
Yeah.
Currently bowling, please report to 26 so we can get a shot
Okay,
at 20.
very important count again right here.
9 spare for Jim Henson. Needs to take his time and come up with a very good shot here.
New Jersey, 8.
8 count. That gives Jim Henson 18 for his 10th frame.
Jim Conway throw 19. Strike on the first ball will be very important here. Then he can throw 9 on 2 shots.
If we can get a strike on the first one, we can definitely relax. Or he can definitely relax anyway.
Said that last time.
Well,
Yeah.
we can be right
Okay.
occasionally.
Right.
And these 2 guys, I don't know whether they're afraid of meeting Dave Lux, who is the next man in the match.
Maybe they just like being on television.
He went for it.
And he got another break.
A little high, left a 4-pin.
Left to spare and still 9. He's a winner. 8 for another 3rd tie.
I have not been involved in one of these head-to-head matches where we've gone 2 10-frame roll-offs before. It's a little unusual.
Yeah, it is.
Nice spare, good pickup. Well, Jim, comes down to 1 more ball.
Hopefully.
We need a 9 count to declare a winner here.
Where's 7 count?
That's true. That's true. I was being a little one-sided there.
Okay.
I was saying the left-hander needs a 9 count to win. Our right-hander
Positive.
needs a 7 count to win.
Can't hear.
Once again, we have a money ball.
And he's
Brooklyn
also
again.
going Jersey. He didn't like it, and we have a 3rd tie.
An 8 count. That gives us a 3rd tie in this match.
And we bowl 4 more frames. And we bowl
looks
the
like
10th
we're-
frame again.
We'll have to have a 10th frame, another 10th frame roll-off, but we're going to take another commercial break here. Oh, welcome back to the Bowlers Gazette, the Handicap Star Challenge match. We're working on our 3rd 10th frame roll-off. We had a tie game between Jim Henson and Jim Conway. It's a very unusual occurrence in a head-to-head match, Jim.
Yeah, Jim Conway doesn't want to win. Either that or he likes to bowl on television.
Once,
I'm not sure.
once again, Jim Henson will go first, shooting on alley 47. The first 10th frame was a 20-20 tie. The second 10th frame was an 18-18 tie. And Jim ran right up on the nose, got an 8 count, left a 4-7. And he brings a spare.
For those of you juniors who are currently bowling at this moment, as soon as this game is finished, please report to 26 for your picture. Those bowlers who are currently bowling, as soon as you finish this game, please report to 26 for your picture.
Second shot in the 10th frame for Jim Henson.
Very important one. Needs to count.
Right up on the nose.
And he got 8 again.
And a double 8 gives him 18.
See if Jim Conway's going to let him go off the hook again.
This is the first 2 times Jim Conway had every opportunity to win this match. This is the 3rd roll-off 10th frame of this match.
Sooner or later, somebody's going to throw a strike and win this.
This must be an indication that the next opponent is very tough.
And there's a stall tactic.
Brooklyn again.
And that was the big Brooklyn.
And he stole all 10 of them that time. That gives him an advantage.
Yeah, he's going to need 9 pins and 2 shots. It shouldn't be too much trouble. Man, he's not going to bowl unless he gets pins.
Oh, we need some pins, Jim.
There you go. He's not too nervous.
That shows it where his concentration is really high today. Good shot.
Looks like that might do it. We have
And
a
there's
winner.
your 9 count,
Yeah,
and
there
that
he
gives
goes.
him 19 even with a miss, and Jim Conway has finally prevailed over Jim Henson. They had a 181 to 181 tie, and it took 3 roll-off 10 frames, but Mr. Conway will advance to Dave Lux, who qualified second. Jim's going to go through and make the final spare. Gives him 20 and a 10th. The winner of the match is Jim Conway, and we'll take a break now and come back with the next match.
Thank you, Conway.
Welcome to the Handicap Star Challenge on the Bowlers Gazette show. We're here at Holiday Lanes today for our 3rd match in the top 5 roll-offs, and we have Jim Conway and Dave Lux in this match. Jim Conway was a 3rd qualifier, and Dave Lux was a 2nd qualifier. Jim Conway is going to start off the match on lane 47. He qualified with a 719 series. Dave Lux qualified 2nd. And Jim starts off with a very good shot for a strike.
A lot better than he started off last game against Jim Henson. Jim's bowling against the first week qualifier, Dave Lux, with a plus 17 pins handicap advantage.
Dave is 32. He's married. His wife's name is Jean. He has a son, David Jr., age 12. His first shot, a little bit high, left 6-9-10. Dave currently bowls in a Wednesday mixed leg at Price Lanes, carrying an average of 178.
He's also switched to a harder ball for these cross alley spares.
All right, good pickup, good start for both bowlers. Dave Lux starts with a 7 spare, has a plus 17 handicap advantage. Dave's been bowling league bowling for 5 years, prefers the hard angle, fingertip. Likes to play a little baseball and softball. Pulled that one across. A 6-pin count, the 1-3-6-10. I see Dave's a 3-step bowler. It's something of a rarity nowadays, isn't it, JJ?
Yeah. Haven't seen it too much lately. Not an easy spare here for him either, where the lanes are breaking down in the middle.
I would rather not shoot this spare myself.
That's the way to make it.
Excellent shot.
Maybe you can remember that for the first shot.
That gives Dave 33 in the first frame, working on a spare. Jim Conway is up. He has a strike in the first frame. And Jim is 37 years old. He's married. His wife's name is Randy. He has 2 children, Jim and Tara. 189 average and a Price High Point scratch is his summer league. A little bit high, left 7-pin, got a break.
Yeah, could have been a little high.
Jim has the experience advantage. He's been bowling league bowling for 22 years. He prefers the hammer with a fingertip grip. problem here.
And he's not going to get to that one. Did not give the ball enough room to the left.
It gives Jim 28 through the second frame. And with Dave's 2 spares and his 17 pins, gives him a considerable advantage.
And about 25 pins. A disadvantage for Dave. Jim can't afford too many of them.
We have a washout, the 1, 3, 6, 7.
Jim's been coming up high last few shots. He gave that ball a little bit too much room to the left. Skidded out on him.
Just going to have to come across the head pin on this shot. Send a head pin into the 7 pin. Who's this easier for, JJ? Right-handers or left-handers?
Easier for him. I wouldn't want to shoot it.
Not quite enough on that Brooklyn side.
Great idea.
It's 2 flats in a row for Jim Conway. That gives him 37 in the 3rd frame.
Dave Bucks with about 30-some pins here, advantage.
In the first match in the Handicap Star Challenge, Jim Henson defeated Gary Renshaw, 205 to 191, I believe it was. And Gary picks up $15 for that. The second match, Jim Conway defeated Jim Henson in a marathon match. We had 3 10th frame roll-offs, and Jim Henson picks up $25 for his efforts.
Nice shot by Dave. I like that shot.
Beautiful shot for the right-hander. Looked like he had a nice controlled delivery that time. Good stroke through the target.
Came through the ball nice. You mix the pins up like that, you know you're throwing the ball right. Using his black angle this time.
That gives Dave 53 in a second with a strike working in a 3rd. We can go up by almost 40 pins here. Looked like he pulled up.
Yeah.
Ooh, double pinochle, big trouble. 4-7, 6-10.
And the best thing you probably do here is get 2.
You're not going to give us any tips on how to make this?
There's none.
No magic way to make this,
Shoot
right?
2 and hope you get a break and maybe you bounce a few or half before. 2's always usually the safe play, especially on a strike, because 2 is 4.
And he makes the 6-10, gets the 2 pins. I notice he is also using a harder shell ball for the corner spares.
I don't know if the lanes are hooking that much in the middle. They use that ball to get over there, or he just has more confidence in that ball.
That gives Dave 79 through 4. Jim Conway is 37 through 3 and bowling in the 4th frame. Comes up light, leaves a bucket, 6 count. 3, 5, 6, 9.
Feel like Jim's last game. He came out of the gate a little slow here.
Is it more the lanes or is it Jim himself? He seems to be a little erratic.
It could be a combination of both. A lot of oil. It could be spreading around, making it more difficult as the game goes on.
An excellent spare shot. Gives Jim 37 in the 3rd with a spare in the 4th. A strike here would put him about 22 pins down.
He needs to get something started, get together here.
He's light again, Jim. 7 count.
He left the washout that time before on this lane. Come back was a little closer. One more adjustment on this left-hand lane, he should have it then.
That gives him 54 in the 4th, 25 pins down to Dave. He needs a spare. He cannot afford any more opens. Nice shot. He seems to be throwing a much more confident and strong ball on a spare shot. Going to stop and take a little commercial break now, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back at Holiday Lanes in the Handicap Star Challenge. We're in the 5th frame, and Dave Lux is 79 through 4, working on an open frame. Jim Conway has 54 through 4, working on a spare.
Oh, my
There's
Lord.
that solid 8-pin on a beautiful shot.
Nothing he could do about that. Nice shot. He stays with that. He's got carried at 90%, 95% of the time.
Did you ever leave one of them, JJ?
Earlier today. Just got to take a deep breath and shoot the spare.
That's right. You can't let that wrap bother him. He has to make the spare.
Yeah.
And looks like he's going to cover it. So 5 complete frames. We have a 25-pin lead for Dave Lux, 79 to 54 over Jim Conway. Both bowlers are working on a spare in the 5th frame.
Not bad bowling quality for someone telling me bowling, what, 5 years?
Yeah, he's been a league bowler for 5 years. Currently 178 average.
Seems to know what he's doing out there. Run just a little hard.
He seems to be throwing a better ball in the right-hand lane than the left lane.
You're into, I don't know if the left-hand lane's hooking more. He's just not giving enough room over there. But he's still a nice shot. He's going to make Jim Conway work. Throwing at this pace.
2 good balls, though, for Dave. Last 2 shots have been right in the pocket. Should have had the shot before we left solid 8-pin. Almost tripped the 4 here. He does bring it in. Gives him 98 through 5 with a spare working in the 6th. Jim Conway's 54 through the 4th with a spare in the 5th. And JJ, I think it's time he gets his act together. And
he's going to run out of frames if he don't start soon, being 25 pins down. He's going to need help. He got help.
crossed over again. Got help.
Seems to be his favorite shot today. They all count when you're bowling one game match. Breaks.
That gives Jim Conway 74 through 5 with a strike and a 6. He needs to take care of that break, take advantage of that break and double up here.
And he get one here, he could pick up 10 and gives him a chance at 20. That's the big thing. It's getting late.
That's 3 straight times he's been late on the left-hand lane. And the second straight time he's left with the 3-5-6 spare combination.
And not an easy spare, but he must make it to have a chance. Looks like we might have wanted that one a little bit too much. Stay with the spare.
Okay, brings the 7-pin count in. That gives Jim 94 and a 6, a spare and a 7th. Dave Lux 98 through 5 with a spare and a 6. Has a pretty good hold on this match right now, as long as nothing disastrous happens.
Well, he keeps the ball in the pocket like he did his last 2 shots. He should have no problem with him. Nice shot there.
That's 3 straight shots right in the pocket for Dave.
In 1 strike. Winner of this match to meet Steve French, top leader with 8.06. Don't make a lot of score in 8.06.
That's a good set anywhere.
Sure is. Another nice shot.
the wall shot there. It gives him a double going into the 9th frame, and Jim Conway really has his work cut out for him now.
He sure does. He's going to have to throw a double here. Put a little pressure on Dave and try to get in the match.
Dave has his last 4 shots in the pocket. Jim still seems to be struggling for some kind of line.
Real fast, ball and finish.
Left a 610 on a late hit. Gives Jim 112 in the 7th frame. Could be 40 pins down. Definitely running out of time.
He's coming up in the 9th. He's going to have one in the 9th. Something to work on.
Nice spare ball. 112 with a spare in the 8th.
Strikeout for 192. Dave's working on a 207 pace. So he's going to have to throw one here and get some help from Dave to have a chance to win this. Yeah, nice shot.
It's the best ball of the day for
Yeah,
Jim.
he found on that left lane. Took him 3 shots, but he got it.
132 in the 8th with a strike in the 9th.
Sure didn't give up. With a ball like that, Dave's going to have to stay clean. Makes Dave stay close.
Dave has 118 and a 6 with a double working.
He can't get lazy. He's going to just stay aggressive. Nice shot. Dave break. 5 went in front of the 7th.
That gives Dave 147 in the 7th. Strike in the 8th to bring this 9 spare in. This is no time to get lazy and blow an easy spare. For 178 average, Jim, he seems to have his head together. He's throwing the balls right in the pocket.
Yeah, he's throwing real well.
Cross lane at the 7-pin. Oh, and the ball snapped right late, right off the lane.
He didn't use his hard shell ball to cross the spare that time. He has when he crossed to the right, but he didn't that time to the left. I don't know why. Maybe he didn't like something earlier, but he didn't do it that time.
Gives him 175 through 9 frames.
He's going to need a mark. He needs a mark to shut out, good mark and good count to shut out Jim Conway.
He has to forget that last shot and block it out of his mind.
He's going to start all over. New match.
It's a good ball.
That's the mark.
That's the easiest mark of them all. Knock them all down with the first shot.
He's going to need 8 pins on 2 shots here to shut out Jim.
After our experience with the tie game before, I will not say that is very easy. Jim Conway can strike out for 192, so Dave just needs 8.
It's 8.
And he got 8.
That's enough. Won't any tie this time.
That's going to give him, even without any extra count, 193, which is 1 more than Jim can get if he strikes out.
And that was the time for that.
So Dave Lux will be advancing on in the Handicap Star Challenge and facing the tournament leader, Steve French. All right, Dave finishes with a 193 game. That means Mr. Conway is going to wind up with $50 for his efforts. What we need is for Jim to strike out. Go out on a big note.
Yeah.
That's a nice shot.
Looks like he found it just a little late. out of the gate slow. And
With Jet Clark, counter.
his 2 shots have been perfect. Best shots he's thrown all day, I believe.
Welcome back to the Bowlers Gazette at Holiday Lanes. We are here for our final match in the Handicap Star Challenge. It's John Thompson here with Jim Johnson Jr. Our 2 contestants are Steve French, the Handicap Star Challenge tournament leader. We'll be bowling today against Dave Lux.
Steve's got 18 pins and Dave's got 24, but Steve has an extra handicap here.
Steve broke his toe a couple weeks ago. He's just now back walking with shoes, I understand.
So it looks like he's going to be bowling 1 step. Not a bad ball for 1 step right there.
Starts out with a 7-pin count to 2-4-5.
So Dave will have a total of 6 handicap pins over Steve.
Nice shot, good start. Steve brings in a 7-count spare. Dave will be starting on the right-hand lane. He has a 6-pin handicap advantage, and he defeated Jim Conway in his last match, 193 to 180. Jim Conway picks up $50 for his troubles. Steve now has a chance, or Dave now has a chance to go on and win $200.
Wide that time ball couldn't make it back.
6-pin count. 1, 2, 4, 8. It's a pretty tough spare to start off a match with.
Oh, yeah. You always want to hit that head pin on that first shot.
Got to
Ball in play.
hit the head pin, have a chance. Dave's 32. He's married. His wife's name's Jean. He has a son, Dave Jr. is 12. Just kissed the head pin over. Both bowlers start out with a spare in the first frame. Dave prefers to use a hard angle,
Which he's not using now.
which he doesn't seem to have brought with him, right?
No,
He's brought the softer black angle.
got a break.
A little bit high, left a 610. Gives Dave with his handicap 24 in the first frame. He's going to switch to that hard shell ball for this spare. Good pickup. 24 through the first frame, a spare in the second. Steve French, our qualifying leader, he had a big 806 series.
Ball like this, you almost just arm swing.
Light, 245 again. It's actually not a bad ball for what he has to do up there.
No. Strong player. He's got to use most of that strength right now because he's not getting any power or speed from no approach.
He's just back from a broken toe injury. Steve's not able to use a full approach and put his weight on the bad foot. And run a little bit up there and chop that spare. Gives him 26 through the second frame. Steve is 18 years old, single, currently averaging 193, bowling in Baptist Church League at Price Lanes. He's been a league bowler for 7 years. prefers to use a Magnum 6. Looks like he's using blue dot today, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, isn't that might be a soft a white dot, I'm not sure. Bill was saying he can't get the speed on the ball that he usually throws. So that's probably why he's using a harder shell ball. Try to keep the ball in play.
It's a tough 7-pin count here. 138, which would not be an easy spare when you
He's
can
got
walk
it.
up there. Very nice shot.
He's pretty accurate that way. Surprising.
Gives Steve 20 seconds. 26 in a second with a spare in a third. And Dave has 24 in the first with a spare in a second. That's
Another cross alley spare for Dave.
2 times in a row he's run up on the head pin since he was way wide in the first frame. Left a 610. Switched to the hard shell ball.
Trouble. Yeah.
Chop City.
Can you get that as wide enough? All grabbed right at the end. Took the 6-pin off the 10. Winner here. Received $200, right? Yep.
That's right.
And the star.
Dave has 51 through 3. Needs to shake that missed spare off and come back with a good ball.
Still had a couple pins advantage here. And there's a nice shot.
Excellent shot for a strike. Do you think there's a mental letdown knowing that your opponent is recently injured? Can't perform to his capabilities, possibly?
Could be one.
I've seen Steve bowl, though. I wouldn't ever let down against Steve. No matter what it was happening. Good shot, good light hit, good pin action.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's able to throw the ball that well. But no, I couldn't do something like that. I'm not sure too many people could.
He's got a shot at a double here.
Yes, it does. Just a little late.
Leaves the 5-pin.
His accuracy seems pretty good.
Nice spare shot. That's going to give Steve 66 in the fourth, a spare in the fifth, and we'll take a little time out here for a commercial message. Okay, welcome back to Holiday Lanes and a Handicap Start Challenge. We're in the 5th frame of a match between Steve French and Dave Lux. Dave Lux currently bowling 48 alley, just a little bit light, left at 245. Through 4 frames, Steve French has a 66 with a 9 spare. Dave is 51 through 3. He was working on a strike. Could have used a double there, JJ.
Yeah, could have. He's up about 4 pins. Could have put him up a mark and a half and a chance of 2.5. But an important spare to hold the lead.
Nice spare shot.
Yeah, covered it well.
Now, preceding matches, Gary Renshaw was defeated by Jim Henson. Gary picked up $15. Jim Henson was defeated by Jim Conway. And Jim Conway lost in his match to Dave Lux. And Dave Lux is now bowling our tournament leader for a chance to win $200.
Not a bad shot.
Good action off the wall.
Dave seems to get the ball to really bite at the end. A couple shots he's thrown out there come back.
Gives him 91 in the 5th, a strike in the 6th.
43 and 44 for your warm-up
About a 5-pin advantage.
Nice shot. Beautiful shot. 5 in front of the 7 again.
Gives Steve 85 in the 5th. Needs to bring his spare in to stay in the game. Dropped off in the channel. It's probably a little bit hard for Steve to keep his speed up.
Right, and look, that looks like his main trouble here is keeping his speed on the ball. But I'm surprised he's kept the ball in play just about every shot.
It's a remarkable feat in itself. Back with a broken bone in his foot. Just now back into street shoes. A little bit high that time, left to 36.10.
The spare is probably easier for him now than that 7-pin was, because you really don't need as much speed going across the eye this way as you did on the other shot.
A little wide. It's 2 straight opens for Steve. That gives him 103 through 7. Dave has 91 in the 5th with a strike in the 6th. He can really take command of this match.
So we'll put him up approximately 30 pin with only 3 frames to go. Same shot Steve just threw on that lane. 5-pin comes in front of the 7, doesn't take it out, but not a bad shot. Let's see if he can pick up his spare to hold his 20-pin lead.
That one in. That gives Dave 111 through 6 frames with a spare in the 7th. Steve has 103 through 7 and is currently working on 2 flats in a row.
He's going to try to get something together here in these last 3 frames. Double wood spare.
2-8, tough spare in anybody's lick.
Sure it is. Not much room for error on this spare.
With the alleys seemingly breaking down in the middle, that makes this an extra tough spare.
Sure, then you can run right by this. Covered it well, perfect.
And notice he moved a little further left on the approach than he would have usually shot that from. It's an excellent adjustment for your 170 to 180 average bowler. Gives Dave 129 through 7 with a spare in the 8th. Steve left a very difficult 6 count there on 138.10. I'm not sure I could keep it on the lane if I had to throw it that way.
Very difficult.
He takes the 1-8 out. That's a very tough shot under the best of circumstances. Gives Steve 111 through 8.
Come up to his foundation 9th frame. You qualify with an 806. So I'm sure he had the.
Just an excellent shot there in the 9th frame. The loser of this match doesn't exactly go home poor.
Yeah.
He'll pick up $100. The winner will pick up $200.
Probably unfortunate we couldn't see Steve at his best here. Or healthy.
And maybe he'll keep the tape of the show for posterity.
Yeah. Another fine pitch by Dave on that one.
Dave's really trusting that angle on that right-hand lane throughout the whole match. Gives him 149 through 8 with a strike and a ninth.
He needs a good count here, and he'll shut out Steve. And that's count enough. The spare day will be in the 180s. The best Steve can do is in the 170s. So we have our new handicap star.
Dave doesn't even need to bring the spare in.
No.
Right, JJ?
No, he's in 170s now.
There's that hard shell ball, go across lane, brings the 10-pin in. He's going to shoot in the 180s, and Dave Lux is going to be our Handicap Star Challenge winner. He's going to take home $200. Bad payday.
Chance to come back, right?
That's true.
I'm sure we'll see Steve back again.
Steve be getting that foot in shape. He'll be back. And Dave finishes with a 6 count and a 185 game, which is still, that's 7 pins over his current average. Nothing wrong with that. Steve just playing out the string here.
Yeah.
Chops the 6 off the 10, winds up with 139 game. Dave Lux is our winner, 185 to 139 over Steve French, and we'll be back in a minute.